Hey guys, how's it going? Hobo Yeti here. So today I want to do a video about homeless behind enemy lines, and basically what it is there's a lot of comparisons that you can make from being homeless to, say, maybe a fighter pilot gets shot down, is behind enemy lines and having to live basically escape and evade and blend in, and basically it's a life of being under duress. And being homeless is exactly that. With the Grants Pass decision, which basically outlawed people camping on public property, it's basically it's made you a criminal, whereas before you were just homeless. Now you're a criminal because where else are you going to camp? It's in its own way, it's criminalizing the homeless, because what other choice they have? I mean, sure, I could stay at the Hilton, or the Marriott, but I choose to stay out here. It's not like I have choices. And so I'm going to go through a couple of different points that I'd like to, comparisons between those two. The soldier shot down behind enemy lines, and we'll just see how this progresses. I would like to note that somebody pointed out that they are making some changes to the Grants Pass decision. Like there was a block on outlawing it, but I looked further into it, and the lawyer team that is heading that up, they're actually only referring to they're only referring to people with disabilities. If there's not a place for them to go, then they can't be arrested. But that's only folks with disabilities. What about those of us who have undocumented disabilities? But anyway, so the first thing on the list is constant vigilance. You guys see me in here, and I'm looking around, and I'm like listening. I'm hard of hearing. My good ear is over here. My bad ear is over here. So anytime and for me to listen effectively, if I hear something, I'm moving my ear to wherever that is, and so if I sit next to somebody and we're talking, they're going to sit next to my left ear, because if they sit next to my right, what, it is what it is. But yeah, being aware of your situation so that nobody can sneak up on you, that you're not, drawing undue attention from people, do-gooders, Karens, Kens, the cops, anyone, even other homeless. I don't want to draw attention. I want to kind of, as I skirt to the edge of the road to go into my space, I just kind of disappear when I get there. Unpredictable environment. So, there's things change rapidly. And like, for instance, here is a good example of that. This tent situation I have here, like I set it up and it was all fine until we got like a flash flood kind of thing. And then the water just kind of started, within a couple of hours, the water's up to the edge of my tent and stuff. And like, I thought I was on higher land, and I am. I guess this edge of the tent over here is still kind of a lower portion of, so it's a challenge. You've got to be vigilant and just try to plan as much as you can for unpredictable situations, if you can, especially out in your environment. I've had two in this same little wooded area. I've had two good camp spots, one back over there, one over there, and they were all perfect. But after the scabies incident, being back here, being in this spot is just I thought it was going to be a temporary spot, and it is temporary until I get out of here, but I've still got a month to go. Survival instincts. There's decent daily challenges, getting basic needs met, food stamps, going to the pantry, but really just avoiding danger if you can. I think I told you guys a couple of months ago, I was walking at the Walmart, like the sidewalk that cuts through the parking lot, whatever, and some guy almost bumps into me, and he's like, he starts cussing at me and like wanted to fight, and I'm like, what is going on here? And I avoided that. I was like, whatever, man. I saw him the other day. Yesterday I saw him, and I was like, man, he was just bitter and mean and to the cashier at Walmart. But like, you've got to be aware of those things, and you have to have a defense plan. You can't just walk down the street and somebody gets super aggressive with you. You can't just like be surprised. You have to plan out, like, what am I going to do in that situation? It's one of the reasons I bought a knife. This guy, it's a little fixed blade knife that's Walmart brand, like $5. I like it. It's I like the fixed blade. I don't like I have another blade that's what is that? Anyway, I have another fixed blade that's a fold up, and now you got me curious, but I'll just keep talking unless somebody interrupts me. Anyway, it's good to plan in your mind like what you're going to do in each situation. That way you have like an SOP, standard operating procedure for dealing with it. Number 4, you got limited resources. You've got like $290 in food stamps every month, but let me tell you, 5 years ago, it was $200 a month, but things were half as expensive as they are now. So it's pretty difficult. Usually within the last week or two of food stamps, I start running out of food. I just, usually when I get to like $100 left or $50 left, I'll go out and buy like lots of cans of beans and raviolis and stuff like that. That way I have something. But it's difficult. I can't cook anything. I can't put anything in the fridge. I can't heat anything up really. So it is challenging. Physical hardship, enduring harsh weather conditions. Mainly for me, it's physical challenges. Like my knee is still really weak for some reason. I don't know what caused it. It could have been a fall. Going through the winter, that was definitely a challenge. But honestly, just kind of walking on my knee right now, that is the most difficult challenge. Just dealing with hardships as they come your way. And like walking back here to my campsite from the roads way over there, and walking on pavement, I'm fine. But once I get back into the woods, there's a lot of mud pits and stuff, and I'm tripping over roots and stuff. I carry a cane, but still, like a lot of times I'll have this heavy backpack on my back, like 30 pounds, and then I got my cane, but then in the other hand I'm carrying like a grocery bag full of groceries, and that weighs enough, and so it kind of puts me off balance. Anyway, isolation. You have a tendency to go feral in these situations. Almost you're out in the woods. You're dealing with people, but you're interacting with them on a very base level. But you're not being remembered necessarily. You're just kind of you're separated from those around you. Like sometimes I'll feel the need to be around people, and I'll go to a park or something, and I'll sit down and just feel normal for a little bit. But I know that my situation is not normal. I mean, I'll try to look it and everything, but still it's I'm separate, and sometimes that's hard. It's isolation from people and having normal things, normal conversations, normal interactions. It always ends with, I can't do any better. I can't. There's no going forward kind of thing. Number 8 is stigma and judgment. People, if you tell people you're homeless, man, they automatically get this idea in the head that you're just a piece of shit. And I don't know, man. There's like, and automatically too, or if they see you sitting next to like an outlet in front of Walmart charging your phone, you automatically, and other homeless people, they can see you too, no matter how well dressed you are, really. But there's a stigma for homeless people, and that we're less than zero. that we don't have any value. Like, 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, I was working a job, and for a lot of my life I've had a job, and I had value, and I guess I was able to maintain a better level of cleanliness and had a car and all this stuff. But suddenly that stops, and I'm homeless, and I'm just a piece of crap, and so there's that. I don't know. So that leads into number 9, loss of normalcy. Just being able to interact with other people. Like, for instance, I was at a Sportsman's Warehouse, and I was in there, and basically the manager comes up and says, you can't bring that backpack in here. I was like, well, I rode the bus to get here. What am I going to do with the backpack? I still want to shop here. Can I leave it up front? No, you can't leave it up front. Basically, they treat you like a criminal, and I don't know. It's just that aspect of things that there's a lot of things. Like my buddy, he had to, when he was on his land, he had to go down to the creek every day to get water and then boil it. And there's these different routines that you have to establish to kind of get through your day. It becomes the new normal, but it's you're not in a normal life. You're in a survival mode, and you live in today. You don't live in yesterday. You don't live in tomorrow. You live in the exact present, and that's really the best you can do. Adaptation, number 10. I think that's important. I guess you could just be set in your ways and stuff, but I found that, and with pretty much any homeless person I've ever met, or preppers, or maybe not preppers, but like survivalists and bushmen and bushcrafters, being adaptable is super important. Always looking for a way to increase, like update your gear to something better, something lighter, something more multi-use. Basically you're adapting to, like for me, like for the longest time, I've been homeless off and on for the last 10 years. Only this winter did I get a USB powered blanket, and wow, what a difference that made. It was lightweight. I mean, sure, I'm carrying the battery packs anyway for my phone, but having that for just instant heat up, that was awesome. And so being adaptable, mutable is important. Coping mechanisms. There's ways you cope. I think, I don't know about soldiers behind enemy lines, but there's a good amount of time that I find myself talking to myself openly. And I used to do it. And then if I'd see somebody walk down the road, I'd quiet up. I'd stop talking to myself out loud. But then as soon as they got 10 feet away, I'd continue talking to myself. It's like, I don't have Wilson, a volleyball or anything to talk to, so I just kind of talk to myself. I have learned, though, I do talk to some people via Marco Polo, and that's great. But I don't know. I think having humor, seeing the humor about your situation, or things that occur in life. I don't know. Let's see. Desire for safety. Like that drives everything. And being aware and having a course of action set aside in case there has to be a violence in your life or whatever. Like being safe is the important thing. And I've said it before, when I'm sitting here doing these videos and I'm talking, I'm moving my head a lot, I'm listening, and I got a bad ear, so usually I'm listening, and any kind of difference in sound. And it's not like I'm out in the bush, deep into the bush, where I would have to really pay attention to that, listen to like a twig crack or something. I'm near kind of a polite society, right? So it's different. Let's see, resilience. Basically, I think that goes with adaptability, but resilience is more like, I don't have a choice, one of my sayings, one of the Hobo Yeti sayings is willpower is often the lack of better options. Like when I was walking across the country in 2015, in my mind, I couldn't see any other options outside of just walking, so I just kept walking. And some people were like, wow, that's got a lot of willpower to walk, 1,500 miles. And I'd be like, well, when in your mind you don't have the option to quit, then that's what you got. Loss of identity, that's true. I think that ties in with isolation, and in a lot of ways, like let's say you, my dear subscriber, are in your house and you're not able to pay rent for, you're not able to make the mortgage, you're not able to pay rent, you lost your job. Okay, the next step is for you to live in your car or stay with some friends. Okay, let's say you don't have any friends, you live in your car. What happens when your car breaks down, you don't have any money to fix it? Well, okay, well maybe I'll go stay at a shelter, or I will, I'll save up for a tent, and I'll take the money that I have, sell everything that I have. I'll get a tent, I'll get a cot, I'll get a stove, and I'll live out, maybe at the national forest or something. But like for me, I'm at a point lower where if I lose any of the stuff that I have, it's a hardship, and it's a hardship, and I'm then at rock bottom. In the winter, in the summer, it's not that big of a deal because you can kind of make do with just about anything. But like in the winter, if somebody steals your stuff, or the popo come and clear up your camp spot and stuff, like you don't have any. There's nothing. You spend the night out here in 28 degrees. You could very well die. And a lot of people do. And the last one, I guess, on my list is hope and despair. It's a roller coaster ride. I guess like that pilot behind enemy lines, this kind of thing. Like, oh, I think we might get out of here, but then you see hey. But then you see this. What is that? I don't know if that was Isaac or the other dude. But, okay, that's weird. I don't like people walking past my tent. Anyway, there's hope and despair. There's an emotional roller coaster. I mean, like I said, you as a soldier in enemy lines, you're like, okay, there's the border, we could make it. And then you see like the what do you call it? The Russian helicopter come down, like in Red Dawn, right? And then there's that despair again. And for me, I was kind of charting my mood throughout the day, and basically it was some peaks and valleys, seriously, up and down. Like 1 minute I'd be like, I don't have any energy to do anything. The next minute I was like, all right, well, I'm feeling pretty good, the sun's out and stuff. And then the next minute there's there's a pit of despair, and be like, no, I just and it's all like in the brain here, and it's all and part of it does have to do with my, I'm more likely to be triggered into despair and depression if I'm having a crappy day and I'm tripping, or it's raining all day, or all kind of stuff. So anyway, but that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of bring up the living under duress. It is it's a challenge being homeless nowadays, and but you still have to get up, you still have to make plans, you still have to survive for another day. A lot of homeless do it with drugs and alcohol. I don't, and I'm just trying to get by and trying to make it, and I'm doing the YouTube, and I made a lot of mistakes with it, and but at the same time I'm still doing it, and it does keep me sane, and so anyway, that's all I got for today, guys. It was a long march, but long hard march, metaphorically and figuratively. I hope your road's a good one, and if you're homeless, I hope it doesn't suck for you. Take care.